What is up, intuitive sheepdogs? Welcome to another podcast episode with your host, me, Autumn Schmidt. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk with you. Do you know that this is our 102nd? I think it's our 102nd episode. Isn't that fucking cool? It's pretty cool. If you guys are not up to date and you haven't listened to, I have a couple previous interviews that were really fucking badass. You really should go listen to them. Whew, sorry. The most recent one was a military wife. She gets really fucking honest and real and talks about depression. She talks about like feeling suicidal and she got real and it was amazing. And then prior to her, episode 100, we had my teacher. Her name is Amanda Francis. She makes $450,000 a month. A month. She's a coach. She came from nothing, and she actually on our podcast episode walks us right through it, right from somebody who knows nothing about anything, and how her process is and how she has brought herself from nothing to something. And in fact, a little note I'd like to say is that our podcast episode, that one, she asked her followers which was the best podcast she'd been on recently, and ours won. And she messaged me and she's like, "Holy fuck! Like even my people like you." And I was like, hell yeah, they do. So, if you went and you supported me by answering her question, I love you. And just by you guys being here and hanging with me, I just want you to know that I love you and I really appreciate you. And what we're going to talk about today is I titled this podcast New Level, New Devil because there's something I'm going through and I just want to talk about it. And I maybe you can relate, and if you can't, if you hang out with me long enough, you will. But essentially, I want to talk about up leveling or going to the next level in your life. And so, as first responders, as sheepdogs, like we don't always think about this. What we think about is we think about serving, right? We're thinking about serving. The next level could be a supervisor level. In whatever in your industry, there is a next level. And we think about it, but do we ever just think about what the next level of our life is? What's the next phase of my life? What's the next level? Okay. The next level of my life. Maybe not the next phase, but maybe what's the next level? How can I bring my life to the next level? And the reason I want to talk about this is because I am not somebody who settles. I am somebody who's constantly obsessed with personal development. I'm constantly obsessed with raising my vibes, going to the next level, being somebody who steps out, who falls, who fails, who gets the fuck up and does it again and does it again and does it again. And I'm somebody who I cannot take mediocrity. That's just, I can't stand that. I couldn't stand it in police work. I can't stand it in my life. I have a very hard time relating to people who are mediocre, who are fine settling. I have a hard time with that. But I'm going to balance that and tell you, but I also have to say that I love people who love life. I love people who just love the fuck out of their life, no matter what it is. I went to Jamaica, as you may or may not know, at the beginning of the month in January, and I fucking had the time of my life. Spent 9 or 10 days there. And these people, these Jamaicans who I met, they changed my life. I had some amazing conversations with locals, and they're like, yeah, man, I love life. Like life is too short to be miserable. So I'm going to do what I love to do. And if I have less because of it, I don't care. Like I love life. And it was the culture there. Like they really loved and valued their life. And they were like, life's too fucking short to be miserable. You get one stab at it. Like that's it. And so, I could go work on a farm, but why the fuck would I do that and be miserable when I love being a dancer? And so I'm working at this, resort, and I'm a dancer, and I fucking love it. And that was a legitimate conversation I had, like multiple different Jamaicans, and it really changed my perspective. And I've always kind of had that, but that one really smacked me in the face. And so, reflect on that for yourself. Like evaluate your life and evaluate like what's your right now and what are you so happy about. And so like for me, I've got to say like, obviously, if you know my story, then I went through a pretty big upset and was told like, "Okay, you can't do police work full time anymore." And obviously that devastated me, and I went through all this stuff, like all these phases of anxiety and anger and depression and just all this stuff, and then I got it together, and I would love to sit here and tell you, and then I made $1 million and fucking fairy tale life. That's not life. That's not my life. I built a successful business. I built a company that was making, 60, 70,000 from my couch, which is pretty fucking amazing. It's not 450,000 a month yet, but like my teacher, but like I was really happy with that. Replaced my income of being a cop, and but you know what, you guys, I was miserable. I was happy, 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 and then not. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I did it again. And then I shut that business coaching company down. And then I opened up a spiritual teaching one. And I got that way up there. And I was loving that, but something was missing. And I knew something was missing. I shut it down. I finished my master's. I got back into, law enforcement, became, got back part time, started this podcast, started the Intuitive Sheepdog Club. Which that was not the term of it when I first started it. I cannot remember what it was. But essentially I was like, "Hey guys, like if you fucking like this podcast and you like me and you just don't want to be alone going through this career and you want to be around a bunch of positive motherfuckers, come get in." And I'm going to tell you something, that core group that got in, there a few of them dropped off, but that core group is still with me in the Intuitive Sheepdog Club, and I'm happy to say that we now have, you know, um several members. I think we're 25. I think we're 25 members strong. And I know you're like, well, that's not a lot, but do you want a lot of people to know your intimate details and know your intimate life? No, you don't. You want people who you can rely on and consider family, and that's what this group is. And okay, so anyways, there's kind of like my journey, but what I'm trying to tell you here is that like I have felt amazing, and then I have felt not, and then I have felt like I've expanded, and then I have felt like I've contracted, and you go through these levels, and so I think what we're constantly doing in life, or I can just say this for me, is like I'm constantly adjusting. I'm constantly like, okay, what doesn't make me happy? Okay, eliminate, poop, clean the fucking house. That doesn't make me happy. I'm not doing it. I could say this. Back when I was patrol, I was not happy. I was not happy. I had supervisor, did not give a fuck. I had a lot of supervisors, a lot of people trying to like shut my mouth because things were just so fucked up. And like, I'm not just saying it wasn't at every PD I was like this. The first PD, not, well, my second PD that I was at, I kept my mouth shut, and I liked the way they operated. Like, they were squared away. They have a really squared away leader. The guys, I mean, some of the guys are a pain in the ass, but for the most part, they were fucking good. And I shut my mouth. I didn't give a shit. I didn't have problems there. But this PD that I got injured at, let me just put it to you this way. They now have a new chief who came from outside of the agency, which is turning the agency around. But prior to that chief, under the administration that I was working for, they had 50. The department itself has 50 employees. Well, over the last 7 years, they had 50 employees leave. Okay, so they essentially lost their entire police department over the span of 7 years. So that agency was going through some turmoil, and shit was fucked up. And like, I mean, I remember like corporals, like they would feel so insecure because I'm a woman, and I know I came from a really busy city police department. Like, I knew what the fuck was going on. I knew how to do my job. I, I love backup. Don't get me wrong, city cop. I enjoy backup, but I didn't need it. I could hold my own. I didn't get into a lot of fights because I was already 3 feet like ahead of the fucking people that might want to fight me, and like was initiating the fight before they even thought about it. And so then they were like, "Fuck that, she's crazy. I don't want anything to do with her." And so, which is another reason why people loved me going on their calls, is because they knew they didn't have to deal with it. They had me, a fucking pit bull. Like, they didn't have to worry about it. So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is like they squashed me. They fucking didn't like me. I mean, I got wrote up one day because, and I know I've talked about this, but just let me just go over the stupidity that I was dealing with. Is my sergeant decided one day, because he wanted to put me in my place, that it was Christmas Eve. It was 10 minutes before my shift was getting out, and we had a 10-person fight in the middle of the road. And I had an officer jump in with me, night shift officer. She jumped in with me, and my lights were activated. So I was recording, and all I said was, what did I say? Like, what the fuck? And he wrote me up for that. And I was talking to her. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. What the fuck? 10 people? It's Christmas Eve. Go do Christmas. Anyway, so I got written up for that. So, like, as you can see, they were just picking petty fucking things. Like, I remember dispatch getting fucking, having a hair across their ass because one time I asked, I'm like, is dispatch sending an FD? Because there was a fucking fire hydrant, like, exploding everywhere. And, like, I don't know what the fuck you want me to do. Go close off the road. Okay. But send FD. Well, anyways, dispatch got offended. No offense, dispatchers, but they got fucking offended and told, the supervisor who they were in bed together anyways, not literally, they were just best friends. And, and said, I know how to do my job. Can you tell her not to fucking tell me how to do my job? And then this fucking supervisor calls me over and has a meeting with me. And I look at him, I'm like, are you fucking kidding with me? Shut your fucking mouth. I am over this. And if this is a professional fucking talking to, let's get this recorded. If not, I'm out of here. Bye. Fuck you. And that's how I feel. Okay. So obviously, do I have some resentment? Yeah. Here's what I'm trying to say. They were trying to squash me. Things were getting uncomfortable for me, and I was fucking miserable. Now, there was no amount of spiritual work that's going to help you get out of that misery, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, I was doing it. I was meditating. I was fucking journaling. I was tapping. I was fucking doing it all, and nothing was happening. Nothing. And I remember sitting there crying in my cruiser one night. Nobody knew this. And I was just so fucking frustrated. And I'm like, I fucking don't want to be here. I hate they hate me. They hate me. Not all of them, but some of them hated me. And I fucking hate them. They're ignorant. They're idiots. I look at them now and they're all a bunch of fucking whatever. It doesn't matter. And the universe was trying to get me to make a move. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, obviously, am I angry? Do I have some hostility? Of course. A lot of times I let that come out on my podcast because I want you to fucking be able to relate to it. I want you to know that if you're there, I was you. I was you and you were me. And sometimes we get really uncomfortable because that's the universe telling us like, yo, fucking shit or get off the pot, or I'm going to do that for you. And that's what happened to me. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I was so spun up in my own shit and like just so unclear. And I had my husband in my ear because of course at that time he was living his best life. I mean, I think at that time he just got Trooper of the Troop, and he got Canine of the Year, and like he was living his best life. He was doing some good stuff. So he couldn't understand the turmoil I was going through. You gotta suck it up, gotta suck it up, gotta suck it up. And like, that's kind of what he would say to me. And so I've got this pressure of him, and he wasn't doing it in a way, like, I'm just gonna say this. He wasn't doing it in a way that he felt was unsupportive. He just felt like that was the most supportive way he could be. And I know that we've experienced that from our spouses, but that was completely not what I needed. But it happened. So I was, I had all these ideas, and he'd be like, no, like you're not starting your own business. Like, you're not doing all these things. You've got this full-time job, and you've got, you're making fucking 60 grand a year, and like, you need to stay there and this, whatever. And so the universe had other plans, and I got injured. And so then I had to, so this is how it went, is I got injured. And then I went through so much turmoil, like workers' comp. I had a workers' comp doctor told me to go do hot yoga. Then I went and saw my doctor and got an MRI and all this shit. And then came back, and my doctor was like, if you go do hot yoga, like, Autumn, I don't know what's going to happen to you. Like, I'm not sure because, you've got a slip disc, but it's the way that it's slipped. Now you got a tear right in it's not completely torn in half yet, but it's like 3/4 of the way torn, and a degenerative disc all there. Like, you have degenerative disc disease, like, all right there. And I'm just not sure what's going to happen in hot yoga. Like, fuck, like, no, that could have really been detrimental to you. But that's what the workers' comp doctor said. And then she convinced me that I didn't want to work there anymore, and that I was trying to fucking jack them up. But she didn't that's what she was trying to convince me, but I just broke down crying because I was like, I'm gonna freak out. And it's like one of those things, right? Like, like when you have so much you want to say and you have like so much emotion and stuff, and like all you can do is cry because otherwise you're gonna fucking go 10-8 and end up in this like psych ward. So I just cried. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm either gonna like freak out and like yell and like be psycho, or I'm just gonna cry. And so I just chose crying. And anyways, so what I'm trying to say here is like I expanded and then like I declined, or constricted. And then I'd expand and then I'd constrict. And, I expanded when I got into the police academy and when I got these jobs, and then I constricted, like when my PD and like the guys, like my sergeants, like they were just trying to jam me up, like, and I constricted there. And then I got hurt and I like constricted there, right? But then I expanded because I'm like, you know what? I'm not letting anybody win. I'm going to go and do the things that I've been wanting to do. Thank you, universe, for this opportunity. My back sucks. I'm couch ridden. I'm definitely frustrated, but I'm going to turn this into a win. I built a very successful business. And then, so I expanded, then I contracted, because then after a year or so, I'm like, okay, I don't like this. I don't love this. Something's missing. Spirituality. Okay, I'm going to add that in. I expanded. And then after a year or two of that, I'm like, okay, something's missing. Contracted. Like, I'm going to pause all this, go back to school, do all this. I'm expanding, right? And so life really is like you expand and then you contract. You expand and then you contract. Another analogy is you just climbing up like different levels. Like it takes you it takes you like 10 steps to get to the next floor. And then it takes you a while on that floor to find the stairs to go to the next floor. And it's going to take you a while to get up those stairs to get to the next floor. So you can look at it however you want to look at it. But what I want to tell you is that while you're trying to get up to that next floor, while you're trying to expand, it fucking sucks, okay? I'm going through it like right now. So I headlined this podcast, New Level, New Devil, because here I am. Like I'm on a completely new level. I'm doing things differently. I'm not full-time patrol. I'm a sheepdog in my own way. I'm out there. I'm serving. I'm protecting you guys. I had this epiphany 2 days ago, and I'm gonna make a blog on it. I'm gonna make a post, and so you're gonna get all of autumn about it. But like, I've met with several PDs. I've met with several chiefs. Talked to several chiefs, and like, it's not that they don't care. They do care, but they don't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do right now for spiritually, emotionally supporting our guys. And I see a lot of wellness initiatives, and I'm so fucking pumped up about that. Shout out to NYPD. They're really doing big things. Huge Fat Loser, Captain Yogi, like they're out there. They're kicking ass. But, that's also the largest fucking PD in our country. And so they should be leading the way on that. And so I'm proud of them. But, we also, all the other PDs and SOs and state, agencies and everywhere in between, we need to be supporting our officers too. And so I had this epiphany the other day. I'm like, you know what? If PDs aren't going to fucking work with me, if like they're not going to support their guys, they're going to do it half-ass, I'm going to let me support them. Let me support the sheepdogs. And so I'm a sheepdog to the sheepdogs. So congratulations. That was my epiphany. There's a lot more coming down the road for me. Things are changing in my business as well. And that's the expansion that I'm going through. But right before an expansion, you always kind of contract. And so I was doing a meditation, and I'm taking this course, and I'm listening, and I'm binging this content. Like I realized too, for you guys and for me, and that I'm going to start creating courses for you that you can you sign up and you dive into the content, and it's podcasts and video like style. And you can drive around in your car to and from work, at work, while you're at the gym. Like you can just literally consume this content the way that I'm consuming my teacher's content, and it's going to change your life. Nobody has time for workbooks. Nobody has time for fucking reading, right? Like the truth is, if you're anything like me, while we do love to read, I love to read. You should see how many books I have. I love to read. But who the fuck has time to sit down and like just read a ton of fucking content? No, we don't. We have time to listen to it while we're doing other things. And that way we can get the shift. And if you're like me, and I'm going to bet that most of you are, because you're following me and you hang out with me, and even on my crazy rants and even when I say a bunch of shit that doesn't really make sense, but then it makes total sense to you because you're just like me, then I know that you're like me. You know what I'm saying? So, um, here's to people like us. If you are holding a drink, I'm holding a sparkling seltzer water and I'm cheering to you. Cheers. I'm going to take a sip. Cheers to people like us. So, here's what I'm trying to say is I'm sitting there and I'm like meditating and I'm like, I've spent days binging this course and like, I'm just in the bonuses. Like the course hasn't even fucking opened yet. And I'm just in the bonuses and like it's 14 hours of content and it's amazing. But I'm up leveling, I'm shifting, I'm like journaling, I'm like, I am deep diving. I'm really getting to know myself on this level that I have yet to meet myself. And I'm like, fuck, man. And like, I've done a ton of this stuff, but this goes down another layer. And I'm like, fuck, this is. Whew. And you know what happened to me? I've spent a whole week doing it. Then I spent last Sunday, I spent like from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. just doing this course, right? I'm telling you, on Monday, it was what I would call up level fucking hangover. I was spiritually drunk. Truly. I was like, fuck. Like, I slept in until like 9, which is a big deal because Keela, she gets up early, but Adam took care of her. And so she was cool. And like, and he was gone. He was gone for a training. So like, it was just me. And like, I slept in. I'm like, fuck, man. I got up and like, I'm also a professor if you didn't know. So like, I have to like grade my kids' stuff, or not my kids, but they're my students, but they're my kids. And, and I run a program called the Intuitive Sheepdog Club. Have to make sure that they got their content on Mondays because Mondays is when they get their new content. And like, I've got one-on-one clients I need to check in on. And like, so I'm like running this business, getting emails out, doing all this stuff, getting a podcast up because I didn't get like the promo video up. And so like, I'm working, I'm doing all this stuff. I look in the mirror and the bag's under my eyes. I'm like, fuck, girl, like what the hell happened? Like you just had a really great night's sleep. Like what the hell happened? And I felt shit faced. I was like, I am so like drunk / hungover, like that woozy feeling that like, whoa, like what do I do? And then I went to sleep. I slept. Kilo took a nap with me, which if any of you have a Mally puppy, that's a fucking like, that's just a miracle all in itself. So, and she doesn't sleep with me. She has her own kennel because she would not sleep with me. She's 9 months and she's 9 months, but she's really like 6 months. Keela is a very young puppy, which is fine. She makes her a lot of fun. But she's just, she's not ready to just chill in bed with me yet. So Keela's taking a nap. Mom's taking a nap. And like when I tell you I nap, like have you ever had one of those naps where you just like sink? And I mean sink the fuck in your bed. Like you melted. Like you don't even know what's going on. And then like I woke up and I'm like, I think I need to be awake. But like I didn't want to be awake yet. Have those times like where you're half awake and like you're half like conscious, but you're not. And you're like, fuck. And so I'm like trying to like unmelt. I'm trying to thaw out and I'm like, fuck. And then like I get up. I think I took a nap at like 2. I think I got up at like 5. Like fuck. I mean like I slept until 9, so like I shouldn't have been like tired, but the thing is, and the reason I'm telling you all of this is because it's real. The up level hangover, the up level drunk, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it both. Um, it's real. It's real. When you go to that next level, you have to understand, like when you expand from an energetic perspective, your energy is literally like your molecules, your energy is expanding, your aura, that's the energetic field around you. It's expanding your mind. You're creating new neural pathways, new ways of like thinking and new beliefs. Like that's all new neural pathways. That's science in your brain. And like, it's going to exhaust you. And you have got to nurture yourself and you've got to allow yourself to sleep. And like that, and that just goes for any area in your life. And when you are expanding, no matter where you are expanding, okay, in your life, that you need to understand that the direct polarity is you're going to contract and you need to go to sleep. Like your body needs to integrate. Your body needs rest. Your energy field needs time to catch up. Like everything needs time to catch up with you. Sleep. And you're like, Autumn, I don't have time to sleep. Make time to sleep. Take the day off, call out sick, whatever you need to do, talk to your spouse, fucking like whatever has to happen. Like you need to do that. I woke up and felt trashed still. And like ate, worked out. I think I went to the gym. And you know what I did? I'm going to tell you what I did. I went and saw my aunt and she like spoiled the hell out of me. Like she made me this like chicken pot pie, homemade. It was so good. And then we sat and we watched The Guardian and it was awesome and like such good vibes. It got me out of my house. It got me out of like thinking about anything, especially like when you do a bunch of work like that, like you kind of get on this like hamster wheel of like spirit, like personal growth, spiritual growth. And you're like, I gotta form these new beliefs. I gotta do this thing. I gotta do this thing. And so, doing something different is what you need to do to get yourself out of that and unfocused on that, because when you can make space and when you can make space in your energy and in your mind, then that's when things happen. So many people like forget that is like they think that they need to obsess about something, but it's really not about obsessing about anything. You focus on it, you change your limiting beliefs, now you have new beliefs, and now you're really happy and you have this new thought process, which is fucking amazing. And then you gotta like make some space, so go do something that like really fun that makes you really happy. And when you make that space, and then the universe can like fill in the gaps, and when the universe fills in the gaps, let me fucking tell you, that's when miracles happen. But it's when we obsess about something, we gotta make it work, or we gotta make it work, or we gotta think, and like I made this I was talking to I have a spiritual best friend. She's doing the same things as I am. She's a business owner, yada yada. And I said, you know what? Fuck thinking. Like I'm done thinking. Like the universe, when it comes to like personal growth and stuff, like I'm not thinking anymore. Universe, work through me. You tell me what I need to do. I want to serve. And I'm gonna serve through you. You're gonna serve through me. Like you're gonna talk and like you're gonna guide me. And boom, I'm done thinking. But I really enjoyed my night. I went to the gym. I slept another like 10 hours and then I felt amazing. And I made space for miracles. And so, I know I've gone on this like 30-minute like binge that you probably aren't going to hear on any other cop podcast. That's why I love mine. I don't care. I don't even care if there's only 2 of you listening at this point. Totally fine. That's why I love this podcast so fucking much, is because we talk about everything. And yes, I'm a cop and I've had same experiences as most of you, but you know what? There's so much more to life than just being a cop. There's so much more to life than, just the quote unquote realities of what's going on. There's so much more to us, so much more to you. Your life is fucking amazing. You deserve everything that you desire. You deserve every dream that you have. I mean, out of anybody in the world, it's you guys. It's you guys that are listening to this fucking podcast that deserve it all. There's nobody in this world more deserving than you. You're it. And let that fucking sink in. You're out there and you are selfless as fuck. And guess what? That's great. But you also came to this earth to experience and have every fucking thing that you desire. And you know what? For one, I'm here to help you fucking have that. I want that for myself. I want you to have it. I want us all to be happy. I mean, there's no reason why we can't be. And so that's why I'm so big on, backing sheepdogs and doing things differently. And so you're not going to probably find a podcast that talks about this, but in the way that I do, of course. But I want you, as I wrap this up, I want you to just take a minute and I want you to think about that. I want you to think about where you're contracting and where you want to expand and how you want to expand in your life, and what is it that you want in your life, and what is it that you want to do, and what do you dream about? What do you desire? And you can have it all. And focus on that. Focus on that thought. That's what I want to leave you with. Like, change your beliefs that you can't have it all to you can have it all. And there's a lot of ways that we can change that, but the first way is you just start thinking it. Just start fucking thinking that it's possible for you to have it all. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Who else deserves it than you? Nobody. You deserve it. You deserve to have it all. You deserve to have absolutely everything. Just because you have it all doesn't mean anybody else can't have it all. We all deserve to have it all. There's so much to go around in this world. There's so much abundance. There's so much wealth for everything, for everybody. we just have to turn our light on. We have to turn our magnet on and fucking receive and be open to that kind of energy. And I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be dropping courses. It's going to be the new thing. I'm so fucking excited. My website, my website. I built a website. Like, okay, there's a whole backstory on that. Like, if I told you the amount of money that I spent on my first website, first website was $1,000. Let me put it to you that way. Second website. So if I told you the amount of money that I spent on my second website and it's gone, you would fucking be sick. I know my husband is. You'd be fucking sick. But when you're making that kind of money, when you're making $10,000 a month, it's no big deal. And that's what I was doing. I was hanging out, I was having a good time, making, good money. And so I'm like, I'm gonna have the most beautiful website. It was beautiful, but I didn't love it. This website I made and I love it. It's a basic website, 0 fucks, and I love it. And here's why. It is 100% me. And it's all for you. I have all of my blog. So I'm taking all of my content that I've posted. I'm taking all my thoughts, putting it in one area for you to binge on. Taking all of like my published articles and putting it in one area for you to read. You can go and listen to the podcast, click on the link. You'll be able to listen to the podcast right from my website. You have free trainings, free resources for you. You can follow my Pinterest board. A lot of people have been reaching out to me about that because Adam and I started this new thing where like every week we Pinterest new recipes and then we make them together. And then like we're like, oh, is that good? Oh, that sucks. Da 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 da. So a lot of people have been reaching out to me. They're like, Autumn, what's your Pinterest? I wanna make the shit that you and Adam are making. So you get to go do that. Come into my Facebook group. It's really popping in there. We're really turning the heat on. We have like we have over 400 people. I want to say we have like 430 people in there, and all intuitive sheepdogs, and it's fucking amazing. It's called the Intuitive Sheepdog on Facebook. Come in that group. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff, live trainings, live stuff that's going to change your life. And so I'm really excited. So things are changing in like the most beautiful, expansive way for all of us, because like I said, I had this epiphany the other day. I was like, you know what? If people aren't going to, if these PDs are going to, not support our officers, I'm going to. And I'm not waiting for permission. I'm just going to do it. So that's what's going on. It's been 30 minutes. It's been a little while since I've riffed for 30 minutes. I'm happy, as always, for the ones of you that make it this far. I love you. I want you to know that. I want you to know I really deeply give a fuck. And let me know, I love it when you guys message me and you're like, hey, yo, I fucking made it to the end. What's up now? And I'm always like, mad love to you. I fucking love you. And you're also going to get the most out of this podcast when you listen to it to the end, because it's in the end is typically where I summarize really well, or universe says something to me. Really means a lot. So we're going to do a little closing prayer. So if you are not driving, close your eyes and let's take a deep breath together. And let's ask our angels, God, guides, universe, angels. Thank you so much for giving us this knowledge today. Thank you so much for speaking through me on this podcast and letting every listener know that they can have it all. They can have it all. They deserve it all. If there's anybody in this world who deserves to have it all, it's them. Thank you so much for speaking through me. Let's guide them together. Guide us together. Include me on that. So we can all have it all. Amen. Sheepdogs, I love you. I'll see you next time.